on drums. Oh, Comfortably Numb seemed like kind of just a fun, chill sort of song
It's
as
easy,
far
yeah.
as drums go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got the fills before the chorus and things like that.
Yeah. I would be curious to hear your take, dude, on Time actually and on Breathe, because like
Th-
when I play along,
yeah.
the it's like these days you notice the hi-hat a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what you're keeping rhythm with if you want
Yeah.
to really nail it. And it's slow. It's like he's like lagging behind just a tiny bit,
Yeah.
And David
Yeah.
Gilmour is like kind of the whole thing is like slow and oozy. It's hard
Mm-hmm.
to explain, but it's hard to play along.
Oh yeah, totally. Right.
You
That's like the
gotta,
difference between a computer versus like a human and like getting
yeah,
in the pocket kind of thing, right?
totally,
Yeah.
yeah,
See, a computer couldn't do that, right? Because it would have to be
Yeah.
perfectly on time,
yeah,
right? Every
yeah.
time.
And it's fun to play because you're like, I gotta stay in touch with whatever rhythm is being like dictated by the drumming because it's really him that's making the
Mm-hmm.
call on the pace of the song. And it switches up slowly, just slightly. It's so hard to explain. You should check it out. See if you can play it.
I will. I know there's a lot of Pink Floyd stuff in there. Two from our past that I bookmarked that seem like they're going to be really fun to play are Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar, Sex Magic,
Yeah.
and Suck My Kiss. Like those
Okay.
two, I listen to the drums. I'm like, oh, this would be a riot to play.
Good bass on those too.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Mm-hmm.
serious flea on the last one. What was it you said?
Suck My Kiss.
Suck my kid. That's like flea. It's all flea.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then the
dude.
Police, Message in a Bottle, right? Like there's a lot, talk about a lot of hi-hat, right? Like
You want to play like Stuart Copeland? Jesus, dude. Yeah. That guy was nuts.
Kitis.
and then U2 still haven't found what I'm looking for, right? The beginning, that whole ba-ga-boom, ba,
Yeah.
ba-ga-boom, ba, like that iconic silent kind of drum intro to that too.
Guitar for U2 is always easy. Always. Because the
It's
Ed
like
doesn't
rhythm
even know how to
guitar
read
stuff.
music.
Right, yeah.
So it's all,
I found that banner 3 by 5 feet.
Mm-hmm. It would be cool. That's a good size. That's a good size.
Yeah, that's the size of the one I just had. Damn.
which one is it?
The Marching
the-
Hammers.
The
The
Marching
hammer,
Hammers.
the Pink Floyd hammers, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the Marching Hammers. Oh, dude, I may have to do this.
Huh. It's been a long time since I've seen that. I should download it. Check it out.
Yeah. Allman was talking about his flags and stuff, and they're talking about red. That image kept coming to my mind, like in
Yeah.
previous week.
That
Yeah,
was
I'll be
one of
done
the
eating by the time we start.
greatest concert experiences of my life, you guys, was seeing the Wall at the Wall in Berlin.
Oh,
I can
man.
imagine.
It was
Were
so
you at the
epic.
broadcast? There was like a 1990
Yeah.
broadcast
Yeah,
that was humongous.
Uh-huh.
You were at that one?
I
No
was
shit.
there. Yeah.
I just bought that album. I have that
Yeah.
album because
Yeah.
it was like an all-star cast,
Thomas
including like
Dolby,
Cyndi
Marianne Faithfull,
Lauper and
Elton
yeah,
John.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
awesome! You were there. I'm gonna listen to that
Yeah,
album
dude.
even more now that I know you were there.
I
The
was there with,
photo's
like-
insane. You open
Yeah.
it up and there's like a million freaking people
Yeah.
like standing in front of the stage.
It was like we showed up at the concert with our tickets. There were 500,000 people converging into Berlin. And it was like when we got to the place we were supposed to go to get in, the gates had all been torn down. Like our tickets were useless at that point. We were just
Walked
like,
in, right?
wow, okay, fine. And then we
And the
spent
album shows
the
that.
first 2 hours of that concert just smoking hash that we had scored in Amsterdam a month earlier and wiggling our way to try and get closer to the stage until finally we were all like in this clump of like the 6 of us and nobody else would budge to let us through. So we just fucking like hung out there. I put my
Well, we're
girlfriend
as
on my
far as we're gonna
shoulders
get.
and that was it.
That's awesome. I'm psyched.
Yeah.
I gotta listen to it again.
Yeah.
I bought it in Asheville. I was at a cool record shop in Asheville, and I'm just kind of trying to find something to buy and it was a reissue of the Wall, 1990 live thing. And it's a double album with a bunch of stuff in it.
That's when David Gilmour and Roger Waters were like, they still hate each other, but like then they really fucking hated each other, and they were still fighting over the rights for the Pink Floyd name. So they couldn't really use Pink Floyd, I don't think. Who knows? It's like,
it was Roger Waters' The Wall, I think is literally what it was.
Right.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this.
Yeah,
up.
because Gilmour and the other guys were touring then as Pink Floyd. Right?
We
They were
might
putting
have
out the
even
new
seen
albums.
them. Did we go and see that tour?
Yeah, I think we did. It was like Division Bell or something was like the album. It was a good album. Like this, even without Roger Waters, when we started in Michigan, was still good.
Yeah.
Do it a lot.
All right, I'm gonna get us started.
No internet. What the
In 3, 2, 1.
hell?
Everybody stop. Alma doesn't have internet.
He seems to be on the internet right now.
Yeah, I know. My phone said no internet, and it just dropped.
All right. Thank you for that interesting story about your phone during the music.
Okay, let's just start again. Okay, all right. Okay, play the music one more time. We'll all be quiet.
No,
Go.
we're not going to do that.
No, he's
7:30.
not gonna
There's
do it.
people hanging on the edge of their seat to find out what
They
we're going to
don't
be
wanna hear
talking
the
about.
Intro again. Yeah.
No, that's fine. They know Mark's struggling with his internet, so maybe someone from AT&T will call you and make amends.
Yeah. Anyone in
got
the
a new
audience
iPhone.
AT&T helps out.
Nice. Does it actually work?
Yeah, it finally
that's good.
is on
That's nice.
and it works, and
You can like make calls and
What model is
text.
that?
I can actually
Is
make
that like
calls.
an iPhone 7? What is that?
10. It's an X.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a good phone.
I wanted to get at least the dual camera set up with Apple's like whatever technology they call that. It's like
10
the
is
X.
good.
The X was the first phone where they started doing that.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Very good.
Yeah, you'll get some use out of it.
So 4 of us are here. Mr. Manel is in the middle of the desert somewhere and popped into the call
He
before
checked
this.
in, so
Yeah.
he didn't run off with the Proud Boys. I'm glad.
Yeah. So that's good. That's a good thing. So, he's just out in the middle of the desert, enjoying barbecues and hanging out with his wife. So,
plotting the new Capitol
stuff.
takeover, I'm sure.
yeah,
I'm sure.
he's going to Maneliville out there in the middle of the desert.
What could go wrong? I'm stuck in the desert.
Now, if he's going to be stuck in the desert, at least he could go to Burning Man.
He's in Arizona. He could get up there in like probably 8 hours.
I can just see Manel.
Now at Burning Man. Actually, I could. Actually,
That's the thing. I can. Like, it's
Yeah.
funny, but yet I can see it totally.
Yeah,
like,
totally
I'm
see
not
it happening.
making fun
Yep.
of him.
No, I think he'd have a blast,
I think so,
especially
too.
considering his new like friendship with people who are, whatever, growing
Alternative lifestyles.
alternative. Wow. Okay. They're not having it anymore. Like it's pretty much canceled indefinitely, unfortunately. Now
What?
they just Burning.
So, if
Man
you're
is-
tuned in, just to let you know, we were going to do a podcast, but that's
We
a
are
little
doing it. We're
iffy.
just
Little
discussing-
iffy at this point.
Burning Man, if anybody's ever been, who's been? Allman?
Even the bot has tuned out at this point. So,
You don't want to talk about Burning Man?
no, not really.
Okay.
You're trying to get me banned from YouTube.
So
Well,
on
there's
with our first
nothing
topic.
illegal about Burning Man.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
no-
what
nobody-
happens there.
Nobody mentioned
There's
the pit stop.
there's nothing illegal about 90% of the stuff that gets people banned.
That's true.
All right, let's talk
unfortunately.
about now. Just to be clear with
don't play
Mr.
any
Bondi,
music. It'll be
the
fine.
next segment is about gaming and entertainment news.
Okay. Got it. We
So,
can talk about my horrific experience with Battlefront.
okay, do it.
You won't shut up about that game. You just that's all you want to play.
But does that belong in the news segment or does it belong in the what you playing segment?
I don't know. I think it's what
News:
you're playing.
Bondi hates Battlefront.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Holy
It's
crap!
like-
It's all over Reddit, dude. They're talking about how you're just scorching Battlefront, screwing
Buy
up all
EA
the
shares.
sales.
Wall
The
Street
Yeah.
Bets
breakdown
by
that
EA.
you
Yeah.
get is so intense. It's like
All the in-app purchases have tanked because of your reviews.
I actually don't hate it. It seemed like a lot of fun. It's just like, how much time am I going to put into this to actually be able to get in there? I was thinking maybe one class, like I focus on one class, and
That's what
it.
I did.
You guys,
That's what I
you guys
did.
tell me
Yeah.
which one to do, and I'll just do that one, and then at least I'll be like able to withstand, some damage or something.
And I have kind of mixed feelings about that game. Like, it's really cool to jump in and be in the Star Wars universe and do something that's action-packed, that's, Star Wars related. But if you win, you and your 3 buddies, like if the 4 of us play that tonight, we really can't take credit.
Yeah.
If you lose, it's not really your fault.
Right.
It's not like the 4 of you can really coordinate.
A 4-player PVE, right? Give us
Yeah.
a game.
Yeah.
4-player PVE or 4
Yeah.
versus 4 PvP, right? Just make it.
Yeah.
No, I don't
Play
want to
the
do
team.
that. No, I don't want to
No?
do that.
Yeah, I
No.
don't like player versus player. There's too many guys.
We don't
to do
play
that.
enough. We don't play enough to hold our own against a bunch of
That kind of
12-year-olds.
game we might, right? If there
No.
was like some strategies that you could do.
You want to play some PvE in that later this week? Not tonight. I'm not up for it tonight.
Yeah.
We'll get whacked
How? But
because
then it's not
because
4v4,
everybody that goes into
though.
PvP has every single thing virtually maxed out.
Maxed out. Yeah.
Not when it first launches, right? Yeah, at this point, the game is what, 3-4 years old. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
When a game first launches, and again, if it's not just headshots, we'll get smoked if the game is not about nothing but headshots and Twitch, right? But
Yeah.
if there's some strategy to it and things that you can do, right, which is why, maybe more of a Dota kind of thing, right? Maybe there are some strategy you can do, and you've got to push, and you've got some bots that you can enable, and you build up your side, and maybe it's more than just what we think of as like PvP.
Well, I mean, just from my own experience, this is what happens. A game releases, if it's at all popular, let's say it released today, we would all download it, right? Someone would send out a text saying, dude, this game released. We all have to download it. So everyone would pop the $30 for it.
60.
And then the 4 of us would jump in once or twice before Saturday, and then we'd play for like an hour or 2 on Saturday. By that time, all those other people will have played tonight until they fell asleep, tomorrow until they fell asleep, the next day, and then all morning Saturday. And so these people are light years ahead of us by the time we get in. And then we probably won't play that game again for like almost a week. And that's another week those guys are in there, playing it. So PvE is rough.
So then the question
Or
becomes,
PvP.
why was Overwatch casual friendly, right? What you're saying is should have never worked for Overwatch, right? I didn't play a lot of Overwatch, but I had some games where that felt competitive.
Well, but if you ever got in there with like four friends and you were a group, they would pit you against tougher enemies. And then it gets harder and harder to win. Like it gets harder and harder to win. Because they have a pretty elaborate matching system in there. If you jump in by yourself, you're basically playing your entire team as people that jumped in by yourself, and the entire enemy team is people that jumped in by themselves. And then they try to level out all the the levels of everybody. So yeah, you can. And Overwatch was a mixed experience for me. I jump in and win 2 or 3 games, and then just get clobbered a few times. So yeah, it just kind
I
of
played quite a bit with my kids, and there were 3 of us then, right, out of 4.
yeah.
And it never felt hopeless, right? We always felt like we had a shot, and it remained entertaining. So
Yeah.
I guess
yeah.
my point is that, and especially if it's Star Wars, right? We would maybe give it a little more effort than we would just random game. But
Yeah.
you're right.
Right.
It has to be done correctly, and nobody's done that. And Battlefront isn't it? I guess is our point. Like it's
Yeah.
fun and it's good for
fun.
a few rounds.
Yeah.
But we see what could be.
Yeah. Yeah. But I just like my favorite thing is the group PvE experience. Where we can all get in and it's up to us against the environment, and we can make it easy, we can make it hard, and there's usually 5 or 6 different ways to skin the cat, and that's kind of cool. Because like even playing Wildlands with you guys, we're doing missions that I've done before, but us as a group, we're doing them all a little bit differently than I did them with the kids. So
Well, and what's added there too is some story, right? Some overarching
Right,
theme and
right.
something you're working towards, not just here's a round, here's another round on another map,
Right.
here's another round on another map.
Yeah.
right.
Does that
It's,
mean we're done with
we get a
Battlefront
chance
2?
to be goofy as well because you can just hang around.
Yeah.
You know, you can
Yeah.
just be like hanging out, going, "Hey, nice cigar" or whatever. You know, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the fun
If you're
part.
AFK for 2
Yeah.
minutes because you've got to run to the bathroom, or something.
Yeah.
Go get
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty cool. There was just a couple of things that caught my attention in the news this week, and I didn't dig real deep down into it, but one was that that whole deal with this Project Red getting their source code ripped off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know how
And
much
only-
either any of you guys read into that, but
It's interesting because I just got interviewed like 2 weeks ago by a guy who worked on Red Dead, like one of the artists. He's at Qualcomm now. So like I'm wondering.
Wow.
So Red
Was
Dead
that
is
was that Project
not-
Red?
it's
That
not
was
Project
Rockstar.
Red, right? That's
Right, that's
Rockstar.
Oh,
Rockstar.
that's Rockstar. Right, right.
Right.
Oh, that's
Right.
different. Okay.
Project Red,
again,
I mean the
still
two
big
big
studio.
titles, Project Red would be The Witcher 3 and of
Mm.
course Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk. Yeah.
Oh, right,
So-
right.
So they got all the Cyberpunk code and The Witcher 3 stuff, I guess.
Do you
And
know
I guess
what
they
engine
were
it was running on?
it's
They have
their
own engine,
yeah.
I believe. Let's see. Well, basically, what the company is saying that some of their internal systems have been compromised. So, so it was some source code, but it was also some internal HR information,
Right.
some emails.
And possibly
so
some
they're saying-
customer information, right?
Yeah, so they're saying that they can embarrass them like in more ways than just releasing the source code for the games.
Right.
So time will tell whether
There wasn't
they're
wasn't there an
not.
extortion request of some kind?
Yeah, and I mean it was ransomware. Basically, they were naming a
Right.
price and pay up or else.
Right.
And
And how, it's amazing to me, like, how do you get away with that without being traced?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do you hold something ransom over the internet?
I mean, you
and-
do it in a country where there's no repercussions, right? So
Oh,
you trace
yeah, I
them,
suppose.
you trace it
Yeah.
back to whatever country.
This
Another
guy's
thing
in.
is too is
Doesn't
like
really matter.
it's like they're gonna share the information to their media contacts. I'm like, you're doing something grossly illegal, and you have media contacts. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. That
kinda
pretty
have a
much
little
describes
issue.
our media.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically anybody with a blog, right? Or a
Yeah.
site is
Mhm.
quote unquote
Yeah.
media,
Media,
right? Right.
right.
If they found juicy letters, they could send it to Polygon, right? Polygon would publish that, right?
Heck yeah.
If
Yeah.
somebody was
Maybe they
bad-mouthing
should,
somebody
though.
else.
You know what I mean? Like they should take responsibility for this. And anybody who shares the information that these guys are willing to distribute is culpable.
Yeah.
You
They should
know, it should be. Right? This is blackmail.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
supporting blackmail by delivering the information.
Yep.
Like,
It's not rocket science, but man, it needs to be.
you know, your CEO goes to jail. You publish this shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you guys get the ransom then. It's just like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, most companies, it's quiet, right? They decide that the dollar amount that's being requested is small enough that it's not worth the pain, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just pay the money. Evidently, with CD Projekt Red, maybe the price was high enough that they said,
They're like,
no.
Way.
You want how much?
Okay, we can.
We
yeah,
have
but
backups.
yeah, like what could you buy for that kind of money in terms of hitmen in Ukraine or Nigeria, wherever this problem is happening?
Well, and they're what are they, Polish or whatever, wherever CD Projekt Red is.
Mhm.
They're in whatever European country too.
Interesting.
They're not a U.S. company.
Well, the EU is like pretty serious about, I think, tracking that kind of stuff down. I don't know.
Other than that, I didn't. Nothing really caught my attention this last week as far as the gaming front. I'm just trying to keeping up with some of the MMOs that were coming up. There was a little bit of a snafu with some of these game companies or these big companies that tried to open game studios folding up.
What happened?
Well, what was the one that you sent out, Kitus?
Was it Amazon?
Amazon has a game studio that they're thinking of shutting down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty much thinking,
Amazon's like on the edge.
and if they do that, I hope I don't know. There's that one game that's really close to launch.
Which is what?
They had a big MMO that was getting ready to anyway, it was in the mix for quite a while. New World. So I don't know that they're giving up on that one, but there was another big, because you had sent out that Telegram message saying gaming is hard. Developing
well, it was
games is
Google
hard.
giving up on their internal
Right.
development studio.
Right,
They
right.
had promised that we're launching Stadia, right? Streaming
Yeah.
games.
Right, there
It
you
would be
go.
one thing
Yeah.
if they had said, we're going to be a Netflix for games, right, or whatever, and we're streaming them, and you don't need the hardware. That sounds like a reasonable service. But they went beyond that and said, we've hired all these industry veterans. We've opened like 2 or 3 big game studios, and we're going to make games that leverage the cloud, right? Things that could only exist with cloud
Right.
technology and the power of the cloud and, processing happening on a server somewhere versus on your desktop. And we can make new experiences. Well, they've shut those down.
Did they ever say what those particular technology services would be?
I'm sure they did, because the people that they hired were recognizable names. Like, they were people that had worked on and were heads of like other famous studios. Like, this was not just, we're starting something, an internal team has done something. Like, it was, they spent some money and they hired people with experience.
As soon as that concept came out, though, what was 2 years ago that they announced it? There were plenty of people going, that's the most stupid thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like, there were a lot of people going, there's no way this is going to work. And the people were saying that right away.
This is Google's pattern, right? Google is big on something until they're not, and then they just cancel it. Like, you can
Yeah.
VR.
But now they're not considering completely abandoning the Stadia platform, right?
No,
they
are.
haven't said that yet, but this is the sign.
Probably
we're
heading
looking for,
there.
right?
Yeah.
If their big thing was, we're going to have studios and we're going to push content that's exclusive to Stadia and come over to us, and now they're canceling that. Google's got a foot out the door, and we know from history when Google has a foot out the door, they're canceling a product, and they're not afraid to cancel a product, right?
Right.
You could probably just Google a list, Google's canceled products, and that would be long.
Yeah.
Now there are people that have already bought games on Stadia for $60. Now where do you play those? Right. The service full. It's one thing to think, would Microsoft ever stop supporting games? Probably not, right? Would Sony ever stop supporting games? Probably not. Would Steam, right? Steam has 20 years in this almost now.
Right.
You could be confident that when you buy a digital product from these other companies that I'm talking about, in 5 years, they'll still be able to play
Still have access to it.
Yeah. Stadia, maybe not. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
But,
and they weren't the only ones in that space as far as, being able to sort of cloud game.
Right?
NVIDIA
is doing cloud gaming, but their motivation is they sell the cards, right? They didn't make a game studio just so they compete.
Right.
We're a platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they go under, then so what? I'll maybe play the stuff everywhere, but
and
I buy my stuff from NVIDIA.
I never messed with NVIDIA's interface, and for that matter, never messed with the Stadia one either. But I don't believe if you bought a game with the NVIDIA client that you were buying it from NVIDIA necessarily.
Yeah,
I don't know how that worked.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, just the thing you have to remember with Google is they're an advertising company, and 80 to 90% of their revenue comes from advertising. And everything else they do, if it's not profitable, they get rid of it.
I cut it like a bad habit.
Because they dump a lot of money into stupid
But
ideas,
I saw some of the guys, like the guys on the core, that played like current gen games through Stadia and said it was a great experience.
Yeah, no, that's the kicker. They have the back end, right? That's why it kind of makes sense. And maybe it'll stick around. Maybe they'll pivot and become just a service, right? That you play on.
Yeah.
but
They
time will
need
tell.
like a
One of the guys was
MMO.
even saying he played Cyberpunk that way. He was playing the PC
Yeah.
version of Cyberpunk that
So
way.
when
and it's-
everybody was having issues with Cyberpunk, the person playing it on Stadia was the one having no problems because he had
Right.
like
Yeah.
crazy amounts of power.
Yeah.
on the
And
back end.
updates, like instant updates for whenever Google wanted to like patch it.
Yeah, yeah.
Patch it
So
in
that's
real
the thing.
time.
I mean, just when you're starting to hear good things about it, suddenly now they're announcing that they shut down the studios, right?
Yeah.
Again, they're a public company and they've always got to be chasing profit, and advertising is their profit.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. Well, that's the news segment. Let's do this thing. And get into a little bit of what we played this week. I already talked a little bit about Battlefront. I actually wasn't in Battlefront at all this week, with the exception of when we jumped in as a group. What was it, this weekend, right? This past weekend. Jumped in for about half of our gaming session. But I did, Kitus, I saw the Steam notification that you downloaded this game also. But I had heard so many good things about Hard Space Shipbreaker.
Yeah, yeah. I've played it. It's in early access.
Right.
But it's a cool game.
Yeah. I
Your
mean,
job-
Scott Johnson can't stop talking about it. He
Yeah,
just
and
says
that's
he
why I
can't
tried it, really.
Yeah.
So, for you guys that haven't heard of it or haven't played it, your job is essentially like shipbreaker. Your job is to take abandoned spaceships and then cut them down into parts to be recycled. So you're like floating in space in a spacesuit, and you have access to like a welder, like cutter type thing, and like a push type thing. So you could look at a spaceship and decide, if I have to scrap this, right, where would I make cuts? Where would I separate this out? And then there are parts inside that are maybe valuable, maybe the computer from the internal part of the ship or the reactor, right? But if you try to cut near the reactor, you may blow the whole ship up and die. And so it's like, and the world sort of feels like Firefly. It's got like kind of Western music, and people talk with a Texas accent a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Cutter, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The music is kind of
Yeah.
playing in the background, and you're just like a blue collar guy whose job is to go and scrap these spaceships. It really is cool because it's chill.
Like,
Yeah.
what is the objective of all that, though?
The objective is you're working for this company in the future, and you've taken on the debt to be transported and given this job. So you're working off your debt, essentially.
God. Indentured servitude.
Yeah.
You can get all the parts off the ship. That's worth more money. But if you are bad at it, you get less money because you didn't correctly, salvage other parts of the ship.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's made with the Unreal Engine, the Unity engine. It's a Unity game, and it looks fantastic. It really is a good
Yeah. It looks good. It's a good looking game.
advertisement for Unity as an engine. And you can play with joystick, or you can play with keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
So what happens when you pay off your indentured servitude?
I
don't know. I only
right?
played for
If you
45
guys-
minutes.
Yeah, they have a good tutorial where you're only given a couple tools at first.
Yeah.
You break down a simple ship, and you learn parts need to go into like the fire to be burned off. Other parts just need to be captured, like maybe the computers from the ship or things like that.
It's like you're in this hangar. What screwed me up was I didn't know where to throw the parts I was supposed to salvage. I'm like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? And I finally figured out
where you can throw parts. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a furnace off to your right where you can just burn stuff up. And then there's a spot underneath you through this like force field where you can send stuff to be salvaged. And there's a view mode where you can switch and it'll show you all the legitimate cut points on something. But I started playing with a controller because I was hoping this would be like a controller game for me. And I went through the tutorial and I'm like, I don't know if this is the best. I'm actually convinced that's a good way to play this game right now.
Yeah.
But I need to back up I need to back up and go through the tutorial again, I think. And then I think, but this is kind of like, to me, it's like an Animal Crossing kind of on crack. It's honestly, it's kind of what this is to me.
Yeah.
It's like there's like some cool stuff to do, but there's really no, it's really not strategic other than using the knowledge you build up while playing the game as to how you cut things apart and what you can burn and what you can salvage. And then they have these tethers.
There's no rush, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And you have tethers. You can connect things, and then when you give a force on one, it pulls them both. Right? There's a lot of physics going on, right? It's all also like a physics kind of experiment.
Yeah.
So I need to get over
if you look,
if you Google search
Shipbreaker,
Hardspace Shipbreaker gameplay in YouTube, it'll show you. I'm actually showing some footage of it right now. But it's pretty cool, and I need to get over the clumsiness of just how to move around and stuff. And I think once I do that, I think I'll be really. I think 90% of this game is mastering movement, like how to like float yourself up and be positioned just right to make a cut, and then move around to the right side exactly to make a push or a pull.
Yeah. And you're in space, right? So you're also controlling your position as you float, and you have velocity and vectors and things like that, right? Oh, I need to get over there. Now I need to cut this, but I need to grab that, and I need to throw it that way. Right? There's almost a bit of a grace that kind of comes with that, like a dance that you get eventually.
But I could see this becoming I just want to kind of chill out on my computer and play something and not have there be any like real horrible ramifications for not doing it. It's not gonna like get my heart going really fast or I'm not gonna get bored. It's kind of right in that zone of anyway. Pretty cool. If you
dinosaur game, I got sweaty.
Dude, that game is fun. Now that's
play the dinosaur game. What is it called? Nada, we should give it a proper title.
Second Instinct or Second Extinction.
Yeah. Early access on Steam.
But isn't it an older game?
No, it's in early access.
It's not even out yet.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't a complete game that we played.
Wow. Okay, the graphics look like they're from 5 years ago. Sorry.
Well, I mean, so does any current kind of popular shooter.
It depends on how fast they want their frame rates to be, really, I guess.
Well, it's a little Fortnite looking, but it's done in like that type of engine. And again, it'll depend on how you tweak things. It'll depend on how you tweak things. Because I've got my graphics pretty much maxed out for that game, and so it has a style, like a look style. Yeah. But it has some pretty neat environmental effects. Has some pretty cool, the weapons look good. I think the environments look really cool. It's meant to look kind of hyper realistic as opposed to like realistic. But to me, I don't think I've ever played a game that is so easy to get into and so much fun to play at the same time.
Yeah.
And the missions have like milestones, right? You got to do this and you got to get over here and do that. And yeah, it's cool. It is really cool. I got the hang of the grenade launcher, right? Swinging grenades everywhere.
Holy cow. I was blown away by how you were playing that thing. I thought that was some special ability you had and you were just like whacking stuff.
So we figured out that if he fired the grenade at the ground, like right in front of him, he could blow up anything in front of him.
I was like bouncing grenades like into dinosaurs, right?
And even though we've played it a few times, we've only scratched the surface on some of the type of dinosaurs you can run into.
Yeah.
And some of the different things you can do.
And different mission types too. In fact, the mission type that we did, I had
discovered.
Yeah, that was
the element of the generators too, which is like a huge gameplay element.
Yeah.
There's generators that generate dinosaurs.
What?
Oh yeah, the spawn nests. You got to go blow up those nests. You're like, where the hell are all these dinosaurs coming from? They just keep coming and coming and coming.
Yeah.
Oh, there's this nest over here that glows when I aim at it.
It's like Gauntlet, man. The first thing you do is destroy where the ghosts are coming out of.
Yeah.
Gotta.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they had generators. I just thought they were there. So they're like spawning them out of a
And maybe that was new, right? Because
It looks like this little nest. Well, there was a couple in some of the other missions we played, but it didn't play like a big part in some of the other missions that we played.
Yeah.
When the three of us first started.
Part of our missions, though, dude. Like we were getting swamped, and then like eliminate the thing. The generator and everything kind of fell into place. But like,
the cool thing about that was only the third or fourth time I'd played the game. I played with the kids a couple of times, so maybe like the fifth time I'd played, and that was the first time you played, Dave.
Yeah.
But we just had a blast. It didn't feel like, oh, I got to power this up, or oh, I got to power that up, or oh, I'm way behind everybody.
Not for me. Like if I killed half the stuff that you guys killed, it was fine. It's no big deal.
right. Well, it's most of the games I play with these guys.
Yeah. No, with Battlefront, it was more like I'd spawn, and then I'd die, and then I'd spawn, and then I'd die, and then I'd spawn, and then I'd see Kindness run by me, and then I'd die, and then I'd spawn, and it's like I'll be chewy this time, and then he'd run by and I'd die.
Well, and I warned him that was what it was like the first time we played Battlefront. I was like, trust me, it was chaos the first time we played.
Yeah, what I did, Bondi, is I took like the assault and the heavy, and I've got both the assault and the heavy up over level 50.
Oh, okay.
And when you get them up like that, and you get like there's a card that you can get that increases your the rate that you get battle points, and then if you keep playing, you get into double battle points and then triple battle points, and that's when you just keep playing on.
Yeah, you'll go in there and like level like 3 or 4 times in one round.
And
I just specific heavy that I should use, or is that just the broad category that's like
it's like Nato can work as sniper really good, so he can.
No, I did some of that, but I don't think you need. Honestly, I don't think you should have like. I don't think it's necessary to say we're a group, so one of us should be this, one of us should be that. Yeah. Just pick whatever's the most fun for you to play, and I think the easiest ones to play and level are the assault and the heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but what I like the officer does this thing, and it gives everybody a boost. So that's one of the special
support class. Yeah.
It's like a rally cry or something.
Yeah. So I mean that's cool. But what I like about the heavy is you can alternate between the heavy's like heavy gun, and then his shield and his regular gun, and I keep moving back and forth between those two. And that usually keeps you alive for a really long time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And when you're holding a position and there's a choke point to get to that position, the heavy is ideal because you turn on that big gun and you're just like
the center ability.
Boonk, boonk. People dying everywhere because you're just pummeling them with shots.
So when you were playing solo to level up those characters, were you just playing quick match and just whatever came up? Right. Yeah, and that's what I did too, and it worked out fine, right?
See, I kept purposely jumping into, the episode 4, 5, and 6 era, so that I could level up Luke.
Yeah,
you
know what I mean.
If
So
you're trying to get one of the Jedi, that makes sense totally.
Yeah, like I would
for the base classes.
you
can just say, hey, quick match, whatever comes up, comes up.
Yep, and like now that I've got those as high as I do, then I want to move into 7, 8, 9 for BB-8 because he's got this whip ability, and it's. I saw a guy. I don't know how high he was, but I saw one of the troopers unload his entire weapon on him, and then his weapon like heated up, and BB-8 took off. So he got up enough health that he could literally withstand just being pummeled until a weapon overheats, and then he can run away.
And then just roll away.
Roll away. But the whips, when BB-8 does the whips, he goes in and it's an area of effect weapon. So, and everybody's crowding around these control points. You go in there with BB-8 and you're hitting everybody that's in there. So you're killing everybody that's around that control point.
This little basketball droid's like one of the toughest characters in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also love just playing the generic Wookiee because the Wookiee has an AOE where he just like slams the ground and hits
Yeah.
everybody around him. So
Yeah.
shooting
Yep.
people, shooting people, shooting people.
Yep.
Suddenly, when I'm in a choke point and there's a lot of people around, boom, and then it immediately says, "You killed so and so. You killed so and so."
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mark, did you get the
Sandstorm?
scope? No, the scope for the main weapon.
No, not yet.
Not the minigun, but
Yeah.
you so I bounce back and forth between using that and using the shield. I'll only use the shield in like close combat situations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to be like really kind of tight with some people, but that shield, when you aim through it, it's like everything goes black and white, and enemies look bright white, so they're really easy to identify and start shooting in the head.
Nice.
To help me with my like graphics card issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. But it is a great game to just go in and play 4 or 5 rounds and turn it off, right? Oh, too much becomes clearly too much, right? So you go in, you play 4 or 5
Right.
rounds, like, cool, that was fun playing Star Wars. Let's
Yeah.
get out and let's do something.
Okay, and I hate battling the droids.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
hate
in
battling
the
droids.
prequels.
Yeah.
Oh,
The-
Why? Because or what?
No, it's like every time
They're
I'm
somehow
not.
super strong.
Yeah, they're harder to kill. They move faster, and like I don't know what he is, but it's like the special attack droid. You know, the real skinny one with the small head.
the Droideka.
Okay.
Oh, the main. Yeah, I know.
No, not the
The
big guys.
Roger guys?
No, not the Roger guys. There's he's one of the.
There's the one that has the bubble around him that's the squat kind of guy. That's the one that pisses me off.
Yeah.
You just take those out with a grenade, but
Oh, okay.
no,
that's all.
I can't remember. I can't remember what he is, but he just comes flying in, rolling the whole. I mean, he's dancing around. You can never get a lock on him, and it's typically that's the guy that usually kills me. So whenever he's in, because he's killing everybody, and I can't remember what the character name is. It's some kind of special assassin droid. It's
Okay.
I'll look it up now.
But yeah, other than that, I played some Red Dead Online with the kids just a little bit. I can see how that could be fun. The grouping was a little janky. It was a little hard to get grouped up and grab a mission together, but I think once you get that rolling, because they got this real sort of
What was the mission? What did you guys do? Did you
what the heck did we do? Steal some
Take your
horses?
farmer's daughter?
No, we had to. The first one was to steal some horses, and then we had to go and take out these 3 guys, but you had to capture all of them. Actually, and I don't know if it bases it on your group size, but there was 4 of us playing, so we had to capture all 4 guys, and they take off on their horses. So you got to be on your horse, and each one of you has to pick one and chase them down and lasso them off their horse and then pull them in and tie them up and put them on your horse and then carry them back. So we failed that like 4 times before we did it successfully. But I mean, it was a good time. And then there's opportunities, unlike some of these other games, there's opportunities for you to like turn on the people in your group. So we're like riding along, and Reese is he's gonna jump on the back of my horse, but he ended up like stealing my horse. So he knocks me off my horse, and then he turns red. And I'm like, "Why'd you do that?" So I'm like, "Can I shoot you?" And so just to see if I could, I aimed at him and shot him, and he went down. And I'm like, "Okay, let me try to res you." And I pressed what would normally be the res button, and it actually took out my knife and gutted him. And he's like, "Okay, I got to get revenge." So he comes back.
Griefing.
He comes back and shoots me, and I don't know. But I can see how it would be fun. But they got this really ambiguous grouping system, because you can get in a group, but then you have to be a certain level and have a certain amount of money before you establish a posse. And I think what happens when you finally establish a posse is you like group your resources. You know what I mean? So everybody that's collecting money and all this stuff can go one central location, and everyone can have access to it. But the idea there is you've invited people into your posse.
It's like
Where
Butch
you-
and the Hole in the Wall gang.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to do that in a group, right? Share resources in a group, because you get into some random group with people and one guy decides to run off with everybody's money and horses and everything. So I just need to play it a little bit more to kind of get up to speed on it. But the kids love it, and Reese has played through the story mission in Red Dead 2 a couple of times and loves the game. So he's real excited about playing that.
Has gotten far, so that's why I haven't started it yet, but I want to. She's been playing it. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, anybody play anything else worthy of speaking about this evening?
Have you guys done any of the Sandstorm?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Tutorial.
Yeah.
Benjamin
So I
had
did
heard
it.
of that game. Benjamin said it's always up in the top of the Steam charts
Yeah.
as a long-term game.
It is. Have you guys ever looked at any of the online stuff about Arma? You ever seen
I've heard
people
of
playing?
Arma. Yeah.
Wait,
So
is
that
like-
game is super realistic, right?
Yeah. Okay. I've seen
So
it.
if you, I mean, I was watching some guys play it, and so, like, say you're a medic on the team in Arma, and then they do something where you can only play with the in-game chat. Like you can't play if you're in Discord or something. You can only play with the in-game chat. Like it'll basically like disconnect you if you're not somewhat frequent in the in-game chat. So if you go down, you can't talk to anybody. You can't say like, I'm under this tree over here. So someone has to notice that you went down, and the medic will come up and it will tell him what he has to do. He has to he has to clear your airway and he has to make sure he has the stuff to clear the airway. And then he has to stitch this up and do that. I mean, it's hyper realistic. It's crazy. And if you 2 or 3 bullets take you out, at a distance. So, now this one isn't quite at that level, but it's, I would say, probably halfway between like Breakpoint and realistic mode and Arma.
That was one of the reviews that I read, said if you were to take Arma at one end of the spectrum of realistic and like Breakpoint and other games, Wildlands as arcadey, that this lands in the middle, which sounds like a next step for us, right?
It would, and they offer a group versus AI.
So Bondi, this game is Insurrection Sandstorm, if you want to Google it.
Insurgency.
Oh, sorry.
Insurgency Sandstorm.
Why are you calling it Arma?
Arma is
another game.
Yeah, is a more super realistic game.
Yeah.
And that game requires you to be into it and like be playing it a lot.
Yeah.
So,
and the only reason we found this is because it came up as an ad for me in Steam, and I clicked on it, and it said co-op, it said 4-player, it said PvE, military simulation, and I was like, holy shit, this is the next thing we need to play.
Yeah. And it's actually a couple years old. It's a couple years old,
it's been
but
out for a while.
it's
So
super
polished,
popular and it's
the
cool.
developer looks like they keep adding stuff, right? There was a lot of
Yeah. Oh
maps
yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
like every 2 months, new maps.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm excited to try this.
Yeah. We'll have to get to a point where we've all played through the tutorial. And then again, just, I think the 4 of us could just jump in versus AI, and we wouldn't have an extra person there. So we wouldn't be letting anybody else down. And if we got killed, it would be no big deal, so.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. We don't need a rando getting in and getting pissed off.
Yeah. Oh, you noobs.
Although who cares, right? Who cares? It's one person.
You can leave the group. We don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if there's a little bit of a tutorial, we could all try to do that and then maybe play this weekend. Let's try it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm looking at some gameplay right now. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I had to like really reduce the sensitivity on my mouse because if I played the way I did the tutorial, I'd be dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I walked into an open space and there were 5 targets, and I hit the first one. Then I hit the second one. So, and I'm
Yeah. By
standing
that
up.
time, you're shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this
in
one,
real
you've
life,
really
it's
got to
just
know how
standing
to
in the
like
field
position
and
yourself
shooting
and like peek around a corner at an angle. You can, and you see the guys that like peek out, pan around, and then go back and do the same thing. You got to constantly keep moving, even against the AI. Because again, like one well placed bullet and you're down. You know, 2 or 3 not so well placed bullets and you're down. So it's a lot more realistic than some of the stuff we've been doing.
It looks cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does.
definitely.
And it has PV. There's 4 of us. Who cares, right? And we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Let's do this.
I'll stop trying to find the separatists.
So who is up to speed on WandaVision?
This
I
guy
know.
right here.
Caught up.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
It came
I watched
around. It
the.
takes a few episodes, right, Allman? Like you, number 1, your episode, and you're like, WTF? I'm like,
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah.
And then it started getting interesting. And then it just
And
got
2 was even like
cool.
funnier, right? The whole
Yeah.
magic show was like, okay, yeah, this is clever and that's
It was-
fun. Okay, this is better.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna keep going, but okay, I'll try episode 3. I was close to dropping it. I'll be honest. I think our whole
Yeah.
family was.
Yeah.
And we kept with it, and now we're caught up to
Episode
the
5.
point in the Marvel universe where it's supposed to be, and okay, now it's kind of what we expected, and now it's cool.
Yeah.
But they took a risk
Yeah.
in the beginning. That's
What
how
was-
we
4,
risk.
I mean, episode 4 was like, holy crap. They're really tying it in right there.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, Bonnie should
yeah.
check it out just to see the
Yeah.
Marvel universe kind of taking a little bit of a risk from a storytelling, right? Not just wham bam superhero kind of thing.
But episode 4 was like, that was like, what happens in episode 4 to me was like, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely. Yeah.
Was this in the works before Disney Plus? Or is it like a thing they did?
I don't know.
Was
I don't know.
gonna be, I think this was one of the original Disney Plus planned launch titles. I think
Okay.
plan was always WandaVision is one of, Mandalorian and WandaVision, I think, were always pushed as like the early titles. And now we're seeing ads for Falcon and Winter Soldier,
Yep.
which looks more of what we expect from Marvel, which isn't a bad thing. Like in a weekly show to see those 2 kicking some ass and some, intrigue and things like that. That'll be a fun show. But yeah, WandaVision, it took a little while. Took a few episodes.
Yeah, honestly though, what are they gonna do with Captain Marvel? She's like freaking invincible. Are they
I
ever
don't
gonna
know.
do anything else with her?
I mean, it's like Superman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's no
they'll
different.
find a
Right.
chink in her armor and
story.
exploit it and make the story interesting, and
Yeah.
somebody from that
Oh, the
realm
Captain
wherever
Marvel
she
TV
kind of.
series? Like, why are you asking about Captain Marvel?
Well, it came up in a discussion about what the hell's his name? The big guy with all the stones.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
she alone
main
could have
baddie.
she alone could have taken him out. That's why she wasn't there during that episode. So
Yeah. During like during the Endgame Part 1 type thing.
yeah, part 1 and part 2. I mean, she didn't come in until the very end. So
Yeah. True.
Have you guys ever seen the Shazam movie?
no,
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
you gotta
it was,
watch it with
it's
Beckham.
hilarious.
If you haven't seen
hilarious.
it is kid friendly
Okay.
because it's a kid who becomes Shazam. The
Right.
kid becomes Shazam.
Yeah.
So it's like Big, right? Imagine
Okay.
Big.
Yeah.
You're still
Yeah.
a kid's brain, but somehow you're in an
It's
adult
so
body,
funny.
but you're
Huh.
It's the guy from Chuck.
Yeah, I love the
It's-
actor. So that's not
it's
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's totally funny and charming. It's that is probably one of the only other good DC movies, superhero movies, other than Wonder Woman.
You guys just, I
Wonder
mean,
Woman one.
just a quick
I thought you
poll.
said it was 84.
Did you guys not like Batman versus Superman?
Never watched it?
Never watched it.
Really?
Yeah.
I
That gives
I
me
like
bad-
that movie.
We
Yeah,
saw it in
I-
the theater, and I enjoyed it at the time more than the the pushback that it got. I enjoyed it. It could have been
Yeah.
better, yes, but
Yeah.
I thought it was fine.
I just don't get
Some
it.
some of the end special effects and stuff. What do you mean you don't get it?
Why is Batman fighting Superman?
You have to watch
Been in
it.
the comics,
They
like forever. They've been
yeah,
fighting
that's
forever.
You got to go back to like the Dark Knight series, but
I know. I mean,
there's a legitimate deal there, and the movie does a really good job of portraying it, in my opinion. And
Yeah, I mean, in the end,
man,
you know,
I
the-
really like that movie a
the
lot.
characters, like in the comics, right? Superman has always been Mr. Patriot, right? Follow the law, do everything, whether it's right or wrong, follow orders, right?
Mhm.
And Batman's not about that, right? Batman's about do the right thing regardless of what somebody tells you what to do, and if I disagree with you, right?
And
Whatever.
this movie takes it to a little bit different of a place too, because it kind of shows how Superman is completely unchecked, and
Yeah.
there's basically people that are worshiping him, and Batman's starting to see how dangerous that is. And
Yeah.
anyway, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's really good. Ben Affleck, honestly, you guys are gonna laugh at me. He's my favorite Batman. He's my favorite Batman since they started putting him
He was a
on
good
silver
Batman in
screen.
that movie.
Yeah.
He was good. There have been a lot
And-
of bad
and-
scripts. I think he's gotten a raw deal with a lot of bad scripts, like Justice.
And
League was
Wonder Woman makes her first appearance in that movie, and it's insane. It's really good. Like, she just shows up and her music plays for the first time, and she's so freaking badass. Yeah, so good.
Have any of you guys seen Wonder Woman 1984?
No, not sure I'm going to waste a
You're-
couple hours of my life on
You
that.
haven't. Oh my god!
warned
Now,
it.
if you ever wanted to see how bad it is, watch it. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
is it bad?
Now, I liked the first
Painfully
one.
Bad.
I liked the
I
first
love
one
the
a
first
lot. Yeah.
The first one was good.
And I loved
might
her
go so far
character
as to say
in.
that was my favorite DC movie, right?
Really?
Movie, period. Was Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
The first Wonder Woman.
Wow.
Second one, oh god, was it painful?
Aquaman was terrible.
Oh, that sucks.
That was
Aquaman was meant to be
terrible.
where Wonder Woman 84 could be bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
and even worse.
Oh, that was
Worse
so
than
bad.
Easily
Oh,
worse.
that
than
movie was so bad.
Wow.
I'll never get
Like,
that
I
2.5 hours of my life back.
If you want to see Wonder Woman fight in the mall during the 80s, you could watch Wonder Woman 84.
Oh,
Imagine how good that battle scene could be. Oh my
I'd literally rather go back and watch 4 episodes of the Linda Carter and Wonder Woman.
yeah. No, it is. It's bad. And I see people write on Reddit like, oh, but the mall scene was pretty good. I'm like, I don't know what you were watching. Like, that was bad.
You're not
The
allowed
best
to
mall
dislike it.
scene in the world is the Blues Brothers mall scene. There's no mall scene in any history of any movie that's better than Blues Brothers. That's the end of it.
Yeah, that's probably pretty true. Yeah.
For the 80s, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm quickly racing through my mind in mall scenes, and
Well, 80s.
Yeah, that
80s
one's
was
up
the
there.
decade of the malls, man.
It was.
Yeah.
And it makes
Think about
sense you would try to do that. But, ooh, not good.
it's so bad.
I mean, the
All right.
Marquette Mall isn't even there anymore. It's gone.
No, the other one's almost closed down completely. The one
Yeah.
up by the other end of town there.
Yep.
The new mall?
The new mall. Yeah.
The new mall.
The one where the Manelli's jewelry store used to be.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to
yeah.
Prangies.
Friends. Hey, at least they had a Taco Bell there. Oh, wait, it was a Wendy's. Wait,
Oh,
no.
the Taco Bell was
Taco
in the
Bell.
parking lot.
It was a Taco Bell. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they had the caramel apple tortilla with cheddar cheese on it.
Ooh, that thing was bad. That was bad.
God,
You
what a
remember
nightmare.
that?
Caramel apples with cheese.
Ew.
Oh my God.
All right, we're just
Wait,
gonna
talking about
go.
shows. Hang on.
Okay, go ahead,
Wait.
go ahead.
Talk-
Yeah,
what-
yeah, yeah,
what we
yeah, go ahead.
watched. I watched WandaVision. I just want to say, I finished The Expanse season 5. Oh,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
fantastic.
you were saying
Alden,
that.
You gotta
Yeah,
watch.
I gotta catch up.
That's on my list of got to catch up on this deals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
easily
Expanse
the
season.
best sci-fi on television right now.
Yeah.
It is up there with like
Where did
Battlestar.
we end on the last
So good.
season? Like, remind me of the end.
No, don't, because I've only
Last
watched
season?
part of season 2.
Oh God.
Yeah,
dude.
so don't
Well, you
spoil
wouldn't
it.
even
Don't spoil
know.
it.
Remember, I think the last season ended Bondi with Marcos, sort of like trying to round up the Belters to fight back. So it was Naomi's ex-husband.
Yeah.
I can't
When
hear you.
Naomi used to be a rebel, and Marcos was going to become potentially the villain.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Oh yeah,
Wait.
Nato does know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what else happened at the end of that season. Oh, that was the season. Last season they were on the planet. They went
Yeah. They
to
got through the
the
gate.
new planet. They
And
got
they
through
went
to the
to the-
planet. They activated the machinery somehow by accident, right? And they had to shut all that down.
Oh
It
yeah.
had to do with the proto-molecule.
Yeah.
And then they dealt with the company assholes, right? And they had shut down like all their systems on their ships, and they got those back up.
Yeah.
I
And
can
then they
hear
were
it if
back to
even if I take
Earth.
my headphones off.
Oh, sorry. And again, you're not far enough to even know what any of these plot points are.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now I remember. It was really open ended. You're like, okay, well, they got to keep going. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could definitely just start on this current season. You'll be good if you got most of what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can start with this season. And it's 10 episodes.
Cool.
So it's great because it's not too long, but they can tell a good story. Yeah. Great show.
Yeah. Beckham and I got a few more episodes in of his Dark Materials. So.
Yeah, I want to
Are
watch
we
that
still in
too.
Season 1? Or
No, we're
season 2?
halfway through season 2.
Oh, how is season 2? We haven't started season 2. How
Oh,
is
you
it?
haven't? Oh, dude.
So
it
they're in a
gets so
different
much
world,
better.
right?
It gets so
Yeah.
much better. It starts getting really cool.
That's
gets
what Benjamin
really cool.
said. The books even got better at that point, he said.
Yeah, you get introduced to this. You get introduced to another main character and another main character. So they're bringing
sweet.
on more main characters.
And are the girl and the boy like now together, or at least?
We're gonna go into this last segment.
Well, I have a good story, real quick. I want to tell about this about Peaky Blinders, because
Okay.
Kitus would know this from the last season. And it's
All right,
not
we're
like
just gonna do what are you waiting on? Like, what are you excited for? What do you got coming up in the next week, or just in the future in general? And then we're gonna wrap it up and we're gonna stream some gaming, right?
And we could talk about Peaky Blinders during that segment. Go.
Yeah.
We're here. I already did the intro.
Okay. All right. Peaky Blinders. What were you gonna say?
Well, in the last season, it's all about the confrontation with the British Union of Fascists.
Haven't watched that either.
You don't have to worry. I'm not going to spoil it. The guy
Wait,
that's
Luke
in the
Skywalker comes
story-
back.
Yeah, almost. The guy that's in the story, his name is Oswald Mosley, right, Kitus?
The
You know
bad
who
guy,
Oswald-
like the main bad guy.
The main
Yeah.
fascist, the really handsome guy who's always
Yeah.
having sex with
He was good.
everybody. And
Yeah.
so Oswald Mosley is based on a real person, a real life person who actually is
Ooh.
Oswald Mosley.
Named
I
Dave
wanted to
Bondi.
do research on the rise of fascism, and after watching this episode, I'm like, was it really that crazy?
Yeah.
Apparently it was. Like this guy,
Wow.
Oswald Mosley, actually did form the British Union of Fascists, and he went down to Italy and visited Mussolini. He was friends with Hitler and Goebbels. He got married
Wow.
in an exclusive private ceremony in that Berlin house of Joseph Goebbels, with the guest of honor being Adolf Hitler. Like, it was legit. Like this guy.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So-
So, not
so-
only this is where it gets really
Further
crazy.
with this guy, right? They
Yeah.
could totally keep going with this character.
They could. I mean,
Yeah.
he basically was at odds with Winston Churchill, you can imagine, and
Yeah.
was on the losing side of that confrontation ultimately, and ended up being.
Yeah.
Anyway, he married a very famous socialite from a family called the Mitfords. They had 3 daughters, or 6 daughters, the Mitford sisters. I have a friend whose grandmother is one of the Mitford sisters. His great uncle
That is
is
so
Oswald
nuts.
Mosley. My friend's great uncle was Oswald Mosley, who was married by Hitler.
This is starting
Wow.
to scare me a little bit.
So does this friend know about Peaky Blinders and know?
I don't know if he knows about Peaky Blinders, but he definitely knows about the shady history in his past.
Yeah.
Bondi, if you ever make it out to the house, I have some postcards that I need to show you that belong to my wife's grandmother,
Uh-oh.
and Hitler's on them.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they're postcards
Well,
from Germany during World War II.
The redeeming story for my friend, whose name I will not mention, is that his grandmother was actually the communist side of the sisters. So there were the fascists. There were 3 girls who were fascists, and there were 3 girls who were communists. And
Wow,
his
that's
grandma ended up being the communist one. So he has absolutely no association with, that side of the family. But still, it's like
Yeah.
a crazy
Wow.
story. I was like, God,
Wow.
dude, your great
Yeah.
uncle.
And Peaky Blinders, right, has the communists as well as the fascists, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
They may end
Yeah.
up like representing my buddy's great aunt eventually,
Mhm.
because this guy was married to her and she was crazy too. And her sisters were, active in trying to defeat fascism. So
Wow, that is cool. Very cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
crazy
That's
story.
Crazy.
That. And my daughter loves Peaky Blinders. Yeah. for
Yeah.
sure.
All right. Well,
That-
what
that
I'm
dude
looking
was a
forward to
bad guy.
is wrapping up the podcast and streaming some games.
Games. Here.
We can. It's been an hour.
Here,
Yeah.
here.
Keep it at the hour. We got our time limit.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. And what game are we playing? Going to play some Wildlands, try to advance our progress.
We're at the point where we can start taking bigger bosses down. We've taken
Yeah.
out of the small ones.
That'd be fun.
I'm
There's the
loading up
4 of
now.
us haven't played since last Wednesday. So
Yeah, I'm loading up now.
I
Yep.
got the
Okay.
same. Yeah, I can tell you guys which bosses I still have left.
Let me see. None of us have taken down any of the bigger the 4 bigger bosses before
the 4
the
main ones.
ultimate boss.
Yeah.
Um,
All right.
so
Maybe if you join up,
Let's
with
do
mine,
that.
You'll all see like the stuff I have left.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
You be the
You
lead, I'll
could
join.
your map will never change. You always see what you've done.
Uh huh.
Switching over to gaming.
All right.
Titus.
Shut my blinds here. People can like.
Thanks
see
for
right
watching,
away.
everybody. Glad you were here. Go
See you
catch the
around
gaming
next
stream,
time.
same channel, same Gab channel.